Hey, come here. The dog tried to... We just got him today. He wanted to make a little cameo on the podcast. So, yeah. Say hi to, I don't know. We still haven't named him yet. We're debating... We're debating between Burt Reynolds, Mark Zuckerberg. Just kidding. We don't really know what to name him. But, yeah. No. Huh?
At least you know the gender.
Yeah, that's true. Welcome everybody to the podcast Legend Killers. I'm your host, Mr. Eddy Lynch, whatever you want to call me, with your returning co-host, Mr. Eddy Enigma. With your co-host, Mr. John Esquire, Esquire, Esker, Xer, Xer.
Just call me John.
With your co-host, Quincy Jones Show.
Listen. You listening? Hey.
How you doing?
What it do? I'm doing all right. Just getting old, surviving life.
Brian Seltzer, whatever the hell his name is.
Brian Meltzer? Something
Meltzer,
like
Seltzer, yeah.
Alka-Seltzer? I think that's what it is.
Brian Alka-Seltzer.
You wanted to discuss who is one of my favorite, or who is my greatest of all time?
Yeah, and you have to pick one.
See, I was gonna say, that's what makes it hard, because you're saying, like, in the entirety of pro.
Yeah.
Like, even, like, retired or current, right?
Everything.
Then there's only one person who can really say. And I'm gonna get heat for this.
Is it
Roman? No.
Yeah, and then Christian asked him, what'd you eat? And I think Kane had a burrito, like a big burrito, he said. And then Christian, like, punches him in the gut and then runs away. And... like... Ronda Rousey. She doesn't like fans. She prefers air conditioners. I think this is a very well-known fact.
Stupid.
Alright. So we're recording. And we're live! Well, no. Not really. Not really live. But I just wanted to do that because I felt good. So, I'm
keeping the tradition of being a satellite.
Damn right. So those of you who are watching this podcast right now, we have a big return coming in. Big name coming back, right? Good personal friend of mine since 2008, if you guys can believe it. And hell, it's damn good to have you back on the show, man. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back Clipper Jones, Jordan the Wrestling Fanatic, Jordan the Depressed Manic, Jordan Jay Wyatt, all the other names, right? I just brought you back to some 2000.
Gimmicks.
Oh man, how you been, man? How you doing?
Dude, I've been killing it all year. How have you been?
Pretty good. Not killing it so much, but hey, hanging in there as much as I can, you know?
We're all out here grinding, dude.
Yeah.
Post-COVID team.
No, man. Doing my best with the social distancing. Hell, as you can see, I literally haven't had a haircut in forever. Yeah. Oh, what's it called?
If you need one, you got a nice local barber that is always ready to go at all times.
Clipper Jones versus Eddy Lynch in a hair versus hair match. I'm down for that.
Oh, please don't touch your dread.
That's fine. That's fine.
I think I got dreads the last episode we had.
That's fine. Hey, if you lose, instead of shaving your hair, we'll shave every whisker on your face.
Oh no. So this is a work in progress, okay?
But yeah. Oh, what's it called? Alrighty, so anyhow, to start this podcast off, let's give you guys a little bit of context. For those of you that don't know, let's talk a little bit of how far Jordan and I go way back, right? We go way back. Being internet buddies, we talked about wrestling, I think in 2008. 2008. Jordan pretty much taught me almost everything I know when it comes to wrestling. He provided a lot of perspectives towards me, and in some ways he played an older brother figure for me because he gave me a lot of good advice, helped me become a lot more open-minded, right? This dude, really good dude. Can't say enough good things about you, man. And honestly, this dude is the epitome of someone who gets his dreams. He chases after exactly what he wants. Dude, the amount of times I've been hearing this dude talk to me about wanting to be a wrestler, and he's actually doing it, shoot. I'm just proud of you, man. How far you've come. You're having shows now. You're making people fall back like their hairline.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's talk about where life is taking us now. So what's next on the journey of Jay White, Jordan Manyfield? Oh, sorry. I'll cut that out.
Huh? So recently I'm just in a tournament called the Invictus Pro Wrestling Battle for Social Media Tournament. My match is actually airing next Friday against a one Nick Stat. And it took place in Westville, New Jersey. And there was a lot of good guys in round one. There's my buddy Gio Galvano. There's Danger Hawk Dennis Morgan, the guy who loves to bully me and everybody at Team 3D. Hashtag MCM Chris Mojo. He's in there too. But a whole lot of varieties of guys from that have different specialties. There's Big Game Leroy. There's Big Trouble Ben Bishop, the guy I'm taking on, Baby Girl Nick Stapp. There's a whole lot of characters.
That's awesome.
In this tournament. And it's all free. Alex Aceta, who is the promoter for Invictus Pro Wrestling, made the whole tournament free of charge on YouTube.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. And I'm rooting for you. You better win that social media championship. That way, I can hold it. I'll take it from you.
Yeah, we got a preview of that belt. I want that belt right here, right here on my door, right here on my door. That's where I'm putting it.
Damn right. I'm gonna take it from you.
Oh yeah, because you're the social media king.
Yeah. Damn right. I got 3 million followers. I do, right?
You did have that one video that had 1 million views, even though it was just a copy of a pay-per-view. We're not going to talk about that. It was 1 million views, dude. Who else can say it got 1 million views on YouTube? Who else? Who's going to tell me right now?
I think, what was his name? Fred?
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I don't know, but hey.
Is he even relevant anymore?
Huh? No.
Is he even relevant anymore? No. We're talking about Eddie Lynch right now. Million views.
Right. Meanwhile, hey, I have the same aspirations as you. Right now, life is taking me down a different road. Currently not actively pursuing dreams of pro wrestling. Right now, I'm doing the communications thing, and I don't know. I kind of like where that's taking me. I love media. I don't know.
Yeah, you never know. Hey, I got some guys right now in the school that are starting at 32, 33 years old. So, it's never say never. It's never too late.
That's right. That's right. And, that's a never say never. Exactly. DDP, how late did he start? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
He started at, 36.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I always have the foot in the door, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And just, enjoying my little detour. And we'll see where we go right now.
Yes.
But that's the beauty of life. You never know where it's going to take you. You never know. But yeah, what's it called? Speaking of wrestling, right? Because, that's all this podcast is going to be about. I saw in your Snapchat story, man. By the way, those of you social media fans, follow him on his Snapchat. So we saw this screenshot, right? You and this other gentleman. Sneak preview to my match next week. Never say I did nothing for y'all. Go ahead and give us some light on that screenshot. What's that about?
So I was actually tagged in that screenshot on Instagram by the guy that I took on, who was Nick Stapp. Baby girl Nick Stapp has been in this business for way longer than I have. He's been doing it for at least 6 to 8 years now. The picture said, he said, I'm not better than you because I have more experience. It's because I have my back to the wall far longer than you have. So I tagged that. I took a screenshot and post people like, let me do a sneak preview to be whooping this guy's ass who's been doing it to the wall that I have.
Damn right. Damn right. All right.
But yeah, I feel, coming in hot and feeling confident. I'm feeling just as confident, dude. Like, I'm ready.
Damn right. I'm always gonna have your back, man. And if you ever need a manager, man, I'll be right there, talking about how you gonna make this guy fall back like his receding hairline. Just kidding. But no, dude, that's a match I'm gonna be looking forward to. Really, any one of your matches, I'm gonna be looking forward to because I know you. You're the damn.
My Invictus, fun fact. This is an obvious plug. My first match for Invictus Pro Wrestling, which is the very first match in Invictus Pro Wrestling history, is on YouTube right now, free of charge, against Wrecking Ball Legursky, which is a pretty good match, I must say. Even though I lost, pretty damn good match.
All right. Definitely check that one out, you guys. What's it called? No, man. I can't wait to see it. As a fan, you know what I mean? Like, just seeing someone who, like, I practically grew up with, realizing his dreams, like, and then seeing, like, you actually achieve that dream. Like, I don't know, man, dude, you're very inspirational. I just want to say that right now. It's, like, literally inspiring to see you realize that, you know. And I think all of us on the PLK would be proud of you. Even Capone and Sammy, you know. What's it called?
Yeah. And I still keep in contact with Capone every single day.
Really? No, he reached out to me just the other day. We were,
I told him to.
You told him to?
Did you forget about Eddy? He was like, oh yeah, let me message him right now.
How convenient, he left that out.
Oops. I should said it out loud.
Oh man. That's funny now.
He's a pretty busy guy, you know, with correctional facility, his girlfriend, his 18 hours of video games, you know.
It's all good, like, man, then I feel better about not having reached out to him because when he reached out to me, he was asking me, like, what's been new, right? And then, like, I started talking to him about that incident that had happened back in October.
Right.
Yeah, to be honest, I still haven't gotten my results, which has been, like, 4 months now. I'm going to get my results on the 23rd, thank God. But, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So I completely forgot to, like, reach out to him and let him know what was going on, right? And I had reached out to almost everybody. And then I was like, shoot. Now I got to, like, fill him in on this and this and this and what they're saying it is.
Yeah.
We'll see right now. But anyhow, so I feel a lot better having that information. But yeah. No, well, it was good to hear from him. Good to hear from you, by the way. So go on. And I'm very honored that you asked to be on the show. Good sir. So let's go ahead and get on the next topic, right? This just a little fun right here, talking about Jordan the Wrestling Fanatic here, Mr. Clipper Jones. Let's get to know you a little bit. Who are your top 5? Doesn't have to go in any order. Doesn't have to be just WWE. Anybody. Top 5 of all time.
Top 5 of all time. Number 1 is going to be very cliche, but I grew up with The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. So that always is my go-to for who I inspire to be like, who I always grew up watching. I was just watching a Rock Bottom compilation video like 5 minutes ago. So The Rock is like. Number 2 is also very obvious, and it's going to be Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like Rock, I feel like The Rock. When you think of pro wrestling, I just think of The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like those are the 2 guys that always make me wanted me to follow this dream.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was just watching the Rock versus Stone Cold at WrestleMania 19 just the other day, actually.
Yeah.
Man.
One of my favorite matches.
Yep. Mine too. Like, just such a good match. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Who else we got?
Yeah. Number 3 is going to be the phenomenal AJ Styles. And AJ, I've been watching AJ since 2003, back in the NWA TNA days. Once WCW was over, I was a kid, but I grew up. My cousins put me on to WCW, so when that ended and I saw NWA TNA, I was like, "Wow, this looks like WCW." So I started watching that, and I saw AJ Styles. So ever since then, his feuds with Jeff Jarrett, all the way to his days in Ring of Honor to New Japan, like I always been a big AJ Styles guy. Just on the way that he wrestles, like even though he's kind of like that high flyer, he's not like a spot monkey type of high flyer. Like all of his moves like mean something. Yeah. When he does, that's the type of moveset that I want to have following forward.
Yeah, I think dude, I was actually just talking about him. I think a couple of weeks, might have been over a month ago. But shout out to Quincy Jones. I had a podcast with him talking about the top 25 or top 10 wrestlers of the decade. And AJ Styles was definitely on my list because I was talking about how much he had helped advance pro wrestling and talked about how much he, innovated in pro wrestling. His time in TNA, his time in Ring of Honor, the New Japan matches. If you guys haven't seen the Shinsuke Nakamura AJ Styles match, you know what I mean? That back in Wrestle Kingdom, right? Was that Wrestle Kingdom 9? Correct? I think you would know. Yeah. By the way, if you guys ever need a wrestling question answered for you, Jordan is a freaking wrestling encyclopedia. What's it called? Yeah, AJ Styles, man. Not a bad pick so far. Not a bad list. What else we got?
Mm-hmm. And for number 4 is going to go way left field, where my number 4th greatest wrestler of all time is going to be Jay Lethal from Ring of Honor. Because Jay Lethal's another guy I've been watching for over a decade, and he's had a lot of gimmick changes, but he's another guy that can just kill for any gimmick that he comes up with. This dude literally came out on Impact with an impersonation of Ric Flair that made Ric Flair's jaw drop. So,
yeah.
Who is the man?
Yeah, I still see him on I still see that whole woo off on compilations on Instagram. That's definitely a name I was expecting on your list because I know you said he was your spirit animal, right? Yeah. No,
if I can work a match with Jay Lethal, that's how I know. Like I can retire today. Like
yeah,
yeah,
man. No, yeah, that's that man. He's really good too. I was watching. I remember I saw his match with Moose for the What Culture Pro Wrestling Cup. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, Jay Lethal's really cool, man. I like him a lot. All right, to complete off this list, who we got as number 5?
to complete this list, last but not least, I'm gonna have to go with the one-winged angel himself, Kenny Omega.
Really?
With Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega is literally the epitome of what I want to be as a pro wrestler. He's a exceptional pro wrestler. He's an exceptional gamer and known in the gaming community, the fighting game community especially, which is as you know, my favorite genre of video games.
Yep.
And he's in his own freaking anime. So
really,
yes,
that's
the
awesome.
anime called Tiger Mask W, which is a spin-off of the original Tiger Mask, and they have Kenny Omega and a couple of other New Japan wrestlers in there.
Dude, that's awesome. Great list, man. Okay, let me rattle off mine really quickly. Number 5, I think CM Punk. I think, honestly...
Obviously.
Yeah. Right? I used to have the slick back hair, the White Ringer t-shirt. Hell, I'm straight edge just like him. But the reason why is because... this is more of a personal reason, right? Of course, everything he did for the wrestling business, how he pretty much helped, the smaller wrestlers shine. Yeah. And of course, that's not to say that he's the only one that did that, but because Rey Mysterio, but I mean, he really did help a lot of guys. You know what I mean? If it weren't for him, a guy like Daniel Bryan wouldn't shine. You know what I mean? He had to leave the company just so that Daniel Bryan could get his WrestleMania win. But not only that, but he's also a guy that kind of, at a time where I was feeling like, where I kind of had nobody to really root for in wrestling, I would see a lot of what he would do. And I would actually really enjoy it. I loved his promos, the fact that he was straight edge. That's something that very much resonates with me. And a lot more now as I'm getting older. You know what I mean? So, of course, him as number 5. Number 4, this might be a really weird one, considering he's not on a lot of people's top 5s. But when you think of a dark horse, right? Mm-hmm. I'm thinking Christian, right? Literally underrated, has amazing matches. I still look back at that match with Randy Orton in 2011, right? I enjoyed it a lot, and I watched his Jeff Jarrett matches. And
Christian Cage was one of my favorite wrestlers in Impact. Yeah. Watching early Impact, so I can definitely see why. And I'm sorry to cut you off, but
no worries.
I just want to say that Christian is mainly one of the big reasons why I'm wrestling right now. Yep. Because when I met him in person, he's the one that told me where to go to make this dream possible. So I just took a shot in the dark and said, hey, do you know a school around here where I can, hone this craft? And he's like, yeah, but Bully Ray has a school right a couple miles from here. He was like, go check it out. I shot him an email, and I kid you not, a couple hours later, I got an email back. He's like, come next week. So
that's awesome.
Thank you, Christian.
Damn right, dude. That's awesome. And I'm freaking jealous of you, by the way. And to steal a line from Dolph Ziggler, it should have been me! I should have met Christian! No, man. I should have been the one posing. I even have his Captain Charisma shirt that I didn't get until like a year after you had that picture with him. But
I was wearing a Bullet Club shirt when I did
it. No, man. But yeah, Christian's a guy who, like, man, I feel like if he didn't retire in 2014, I probably wouldn't have appreciated his time as much. Because, I mean, look at Matt Hardy, right? Those two are very similar in their careers, right? And Matt Hardy, he's very well celebrated now. But I feel like if he were to retire at the same time Christian were to retire, you know what I mean? Like, they're so similar, you would miss them. You'd miss him just like a lot of people like myself miss Christian. And
I feel like I personally feel like if Christian went back to Impact circa 2008 as Christian Cage, he would be a lot more respected, like from the fans. The wrestlers respect him like regardless because of what he did.
Yeah.
But I feel like had he went to Impact as Christian Cage, he would have that same indie-rific, glamour as Broken Hardy and so on and so forth.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. Man, I know you probably don't get worked the same way I get worked, but did you think for a second there was a chance that he was going to come back and wrestle Randy Orton at Extreme Rules this year?
I did, because other than from what he's saying, he doesn't look like he's aged a day. I mean, I feel like he could honestly work another match, but I don't know. I'm obviously not him, and I don't know his body, so all I can say is all I can do is hope.
Yeah, man. I mean, here's the hoping. You know what I mean? Like, if he ever gets cleared, if he ever, you know what I mean. So yeah, Christian Cage, number 4. What's it called? Number 3. This will be a little bit more of a controversial pick, but Brock Lesnar. He still has great matches. As much as people do not like him,
One thing people can't deny is Brock Lesnar's matches have top tier psychology. You may not like how he's tossing around your favorite indie wrestler, but do notice that once he's done tossing them, he always gives them their time to shine before he gives them the F5. He lets them get all their stuff in right before he gives them the F5.
Yep. And I've been saying this about Brock's for years. Like, he's good at giving an ass whooping, but he's also good at making it look like he took an ass whooping.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And I like that. You know what I mean? Like, because, like me, both of us who, we know wrestling, we know that a certain spot isn't going to end right here. If I watch a Daniel Bryan match with Brock Lesnar and I see that Brock Lesnar looks like he's about to tap, and you get me to actually believe for a minute, is he about to freaking tap?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's some talent in that. There obviously has to be some talent in that. You know what I mean? And I think, Brock Lesnar is an all-time great, in my opinion.
He's just a wrestler. He's a talent. You have to look at it like that. He follows the script just like we do watching it. If he's told to win, he's gonna win the match. But what I like about Brock Lesnar, again, is that he lets wrestlers, and I quote, get their shit in before,
he wins. But
he wins.
Oh, man. Even then, like, I don't even mind if he wins. You know what I mean? If anything, like, he should win. Why wouldn't he win? He's an ex-MMA fighter. A former...
Ex-MMA fighter. Ended Undertaker's streak. I mean, he's the beast.
He's the beast, as he says.
The beast.
So, of course, it's Brock Lesnar. Number 2 is The Rock. I share the exact same thing with Jordan here.
Just a man.
What the Rock is cooking? Man, my favorite incarnation of The Rock, though. I have a favorite incarnation of him because, honestly, I'm a diehard Ruthless Aggression era fan. So, I love 2003 Rock. As short-lived as that was, because now that you think about it, right? He became Hollywood from No Way Out, I think, right? No Way Out, if I have my history correct. Only till he lost to Goldberg, which is about 4 months, if you really think about it. That, to me, is like... And, like, when I see all that he's done, it's like... He made that feel like he's had that gimmick for years. I love the Hollywood Rock. Of course, every incarnation of The Rock is hilarious. You have all sorts of memories. the dude can still probably make me freaking laugh. If you take me to a comedy club, he's probably gonna be the funniest one in the room. You know what I mean? That's how. But comedy aside, man, like the character he plays, the person that he is as well, like, you know, very charitable, and from what I see, he's a very, very nice person. Don't get me wrong, of course, everybody's nice to their celebrities, or, you know, you would hope to, but The Rock, he just seems so genuine, and, you know what I mean, definitely someone you would want to,
you gotta think of it like this, right? This guy is basically a billionaire.
Yep.
And he's still replying to up-and-coming indie wrestlers just because he feels like it.
Yeah.
Like, most billionaires don't even talk to regular people. And this dude's just on Twitter like say if somebody from Ring of Honor says something. Like, there was actually a guy from Impact that said something about what's his name? It was TJP. It was TJ Perkins said something about The Rock, how he's better at doing something than The Rock. And The Rock responded to him, and I forget what he called him. He didn't call him TJP. He called him something else, but he was like, but he did it on purpose. He knew exactly who TJ Perkins was. He was just like, I don't know who you are, but that was a funny joke. You know?
Man, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's just like, he's so genuine. Got all these, like, just the hilarious jokes. And yeah, like, I don't know, like, you would think that a guy who does movies and does all these things, he keeps his life, you would think he's probably the most disconnected person in the world from wrestling. But no, he actually knows a lot of people, and he's, you know, avidly a fan of Kevin Owens, for example. You know, like, and TJP, and I don't know, man. That's just awesome to me. Like, he's definitely a person you would want to, like, learn from. You know what I mean? In terms of, like, what kind of human being to be like. But yeah, all right, number one, last one, is, and I've said this many times, and I have my reasons for it. John Cena. Quite literally, oh, Jordan, you're giving me that face of disapproval.
No, it's just, I'm just shocked. I'm surprised you didn't put Goldberg on your list.
Nah.
Not anymore.
I've smartened up. I think Super Saudi Showdown with Undertaker kind of ripped that one off for me.
I'm on my list.
No. Well, I mean, look, no disrespect to Goldberg, but he's been off my list for a couple years now. You know, probably since 2000. I put him at number one in 2013. He was off my list in 2015. Only because I smartened up. I learned a lot more talented. There are a lot more talented people out there. And I think even Goldberg would probably say the same thing. So I'm, you know, and I mean this in the most respectful way, you know. So when I think of John Cena, this man has quite literally done so much for the business. And not only just that, but you think of how adaptable he is, right? He can work from different generations, from guys like The Rock to guys like Sami Zayn, and still have a great freaking match. You know, and as much as I love The Rock, I can't imagine him having a match with Sami Zayn. You know what I mean? I feel like those two styles are just too contrasting. I could be wrong. It could be an amazing
match. With CM Punk, it was like kind of iffy.
Yeah. You know, and then like, CM Punk, another name. You know what I mean? Different generation. Still an amazing match. Different style as well. And, you know, there's just so much more criteria. All the Make-A-Wish Foundations, all the things he's taught people, the work ethic that he has. You know what I mean? people like to compare him to Hulk Hogan. I don't like to compare him to Hulk Hogan. Here's why. Because Eat Your Vitamins, Say Your Prayer, that was an act. That was a character. Because the real Hulk Hogan is over here saying a bunch of racial things about, you know, his daughter dating a black man. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. That's scandalous to me. And I mean this in the most respectful way. But Hulk Hogan, I don't know. I don't see John Cena doing the same things Hulk Hogan would do. John Cena seems like a very genuine man. I say that now, and if we find some sort of leak where he says some shit like that, then I guess words redacted. But but until then, like, huh?
You said until then.
Yeah, until then, I still stick with John Cena's the greatest of all time because of all those reasons, and possibly even more. You know, that I can't think of right now. You know, all the things he's done for people, and sure, you might have your complaints about him politicking, like the whole Nexus angle. But even Cena himself has admitted that he was wrong about that. You know, well, per Chris Jericho. So, with that being said, like, I definitely think of all the people to be the golden goose, it's definitely John Cena, and I could see why all these years later. And absolutely greatest of all time, in my honest opinion, greatest of all time. So with that being said, let's get back into Jordan, right? So Jordan, you love your music. Who's your favorite artist, if you had to pick?
My favorite artist, you know, that's a really difficult question for somebody that listens. When you listen to multiple genre of music, it's like you gotta pick that one guy. Like I know you got Eminem. Yep. You got Eminem as your go-to. Like me, like I can. It depends on like different days. Like some days I feel like listening to 50 Cent. Mm-hmm. Some days I feel like listening to Jadakiss. Some days I even go back and like I'm listening to like freaking Dipset from like 2002. Circa 2002, I'm listening to, you know, listening to Cameron, you know, Joel Santana.
Hey, man.
Then some days I just like listening to like modern rap. Like I'm listening to like guys. I'm listening to Pop Smoke, you know, R&B. Like even though he's gone, like yeah, I'm listening to like, you know, Pop Smoke. I'm listening to like a bunch of new guys. Like every now and then, like, oh, you can put on some Big Shawn, you know, just for the heck of it. But like, yeah, but I listen to like a different, like a little bit of variety, because music is like especially hip hop in general is like wrestling. Like people like, oh, like I got friends that are predominantly like metal fans, and they'll say like, oh yeah, like how do you listen to like hip hop? It's all the same. I'm like, that is like so far from the truth. Like you got street rap, then you got your feel good rap. That's like, oh, like, you know, let's just go out and party. And then you got your battle rap, and it's like different flavors of ice cream, like rap music. So
now that actually reminds me of so I actually got to meet I got to meet D'Lo Brown back when I was doing my yes.
After you're finished, I got a D'Lo Brown story for you.
Damn right. Okay, so I got to meet D'Lo Brown, right? He, back when I was doing my GCF thing, we learned to build the ring with him. Dude is really nice, very patient. And I say that because like, one guy asked like, what if we so you've built a ring, I'm sure, right?
Multiple times, yes.
Of course. So now, as you know, when we're building the four corners of the ring, and we got the bars ready, right? We I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you're grabbing two of the bars for the sides. You're supposed to put them like in between, right? So that they're supposed to like
between the spots,
yeah. And I believe both Will and I, sorry, you don't know him. My friend Will, who's also affiliated with GCF, he asked him a question where he asked him, why don't we do it diagonal? Why don't we put the bars diagonally to connect? Either it was bars or it was rope. I forget which one it was. And well, he explained it to him. I had forgot he even asked it. But then I went up to him and I asked him myself, like, hey, what if we do it this way? But he was very nice about it. He was like, well, if we do it this way, it's, you know what I mean, you gotta... He gave me the reason. He was very nice about it, you know what I mean? And, like, I don't know, like, that's somebody who... very patient and stuff. But why did I bring him up? Oh, yeah. So, he... Similar to your ice cream thing, he said the same thing about... we were having a seminar about wrestling. He had said wrestling is like Baskin Robbins. 32 different flavors and everybody likes something different. You know? And
you're going to hear that a lot in the wrestling business.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of wrestlers use the flavors of ice cream analogy because it's true. It's what it is.
And I think that could be applied to music as well. Like rap music. You know, like you said, it's all far from the truth, and especially like taking intercultural classes and stuff, you know, you learn about different cultures, you know what I mean? Like, I think what it is not so much ethnocentrism. I mean, there's a little bit of ethnocentrism when somebody says something like that, but if they were to listen to rap music and see that there are different things, they'd probably just be experiencing a bunch of culture shock because they don't know enough about the rap culture, the hip-hop culture, right? Whereas us, who listens to mostly rap, we don't know too much about the rock culture. You know what I mean? There's different types of rock. I'm aware of that, you know, but some of it sounds the same, you know, until you learn the differences. So,
yeah.
I
said, that's the thing I always say to them. It's like, what if I went up to you and said all metal music sounds the same? That would offend you, right? Yeah. He's like, yeah, because I would know it's not true. I mean, exactly the same applies to hip hop and a lot of me. Like me, I personally can't stand country music. I hate country music to my core. But I know that there's if I actually listen to like I know there's a song out there I would like.
Well, okay, you came to the right person. Because I do know some country songs after, you know, years of listening to it. Hold on, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay. Sorry about that. So, you came to the right place. Because when it comes to country music, right? Like, I don't know too much about it. I do know there are actually, like, some good songs. So, if I could recommend an artist for you, you would probably like Luke Bryan. He has some good music. Well, no. I'm not going to say some. He does have good music. I like his music personally. I haven't heard enough of his music, though. So, I can't tell you. But yeah. So, just putting that one out there for you. Go on. What were you saying? Sorry.
What was I saying?
I'm sorry.
You want me to tell you that D'Lo Brown story? Is what you're saying?
Yeah. Go for it. Yeah.
So, now back down in to the east front in your sense, in Team 30 Academy in the Northeast, which is located in Danbury, Connecticut. We have a large variety of students now. When I first started, it was like 8 guys, and then it dropped down to like 5 of us. But now there's 14. Now there's 14 of us. So, you know, we grew in size. So there's a lot of different shapes and sizes now, different races and what have you. There's another kid there named Nick, and Nick, I kid you not, looks like he could be the illegitimate son of D'Lo Brown. Really? So we started calling him, like, we all have our like names that they that we kind of like grow, because it's like a brotherhood there. So we get our own little wrestling names that we call each other by. So mine was obviously Clipper. So his was D'Lo. we only call him D-Lo at the school. And if you don't know, Tommy Dreamer is one of the coaches for Team 3D Academy Northeast. And he's an executive producer for Impact Wrestling. So there are times when Impact comes up here, like around Philly and whatnot, we have to go down and we help do ring crew for Impact Wrestling. And a couple of my guys actually also wrestle for Impact, but that's another story for another day. If you also, D'Lo Brown is one of the coaches for Impact Wrestling. He actually goes out and scouts talent for Impact Wrestling, which is probably why you saw him at your promotion, because when he does seminars and stuff, that's what he's doing. He's looking for more talent. So when we saw the real D'Lo Brown, my coach. My coach, not Bully Ray, the guy who actually owns the gym, his name is the Platinum Playboy Randy Shawn. Randy's been in the game for about a little over 20 years, so he knows a lot of talent in the wrestling business. So he knew D'Lo Brown. So he did a rib where he told D'Lo, he was like, "Don't you think that could be your illegitimate son over there?" And D'Lo walks up, like, we didn't tell Nick anything. He didn't tell Nick anything. D'Lo we're introducing us to him. He's introducing us to him. You know, we're shaking his hand, saying our names. He shakes his hand. He's like, "Have I seen you from somewhere before?"
Oh my god, that's awesome. You know, actually, funny enough you mentioned that. I got in the GCF. So, the guy who runs GCF, who's in the head chief, Jamal, he looks so much like Mark Henry. When I met him, I was like, "Is that Mark Henry?" Like, I saw him from a distance. I'm like, "Is that Mark Henry?" And then I saw, oh, he just looks like him. I can't believe that. And then, like, I just kept quiet, right? Until, like, he started making references to the fact that people tell him that all the time. And I was just like, damn. At first I was hitting my head on the fact that, like, did I really just think that? And then the fact that he even acknowledges it, I'm like, wow. So we need a similar story with Mark Henry and Jamal. I'll send you a picture of him. You'll probably agree. But
compare.
Yeah.
The side-by-side picture.
That's crazy. It's crazy how small this world is. Like, and of course, if you're in the same business, like, I met D'Lo Brown. You met D'Lo Brown. D'Lo Brown met Jamal. You probably will someday, if you're ever in the area, you probably will meet Jamal. You know, and then not only that, but a couple of, you know, people that I know personally. I don't know if you've heard of this promotion, Rival Pro Wrestling. They follow you. And then I was like, when I saw that, I was like, dude, I gotta message them and let them know that you're my friend and I know you. They left me on read, but whatever. Like that, but that's freaking cool though. Like, it's a really small world. Yeah, man.
Yeah, like I'm literally trying to hit every state on this continent, just not even to wrestle, just to see the world, you know, because you only got one life. Yeah. And you only got one time to see it. That, and I need to my bucket list. My top two is to visit you in Cali and visit David down in Lockhart, Texas. Like, that's right on my bucket list. Before I go, I have to see Eddy Lynch. And I have to see Capone so he can talk shit to my face.
Goddamn. Now that'll be a good ass day whenever you do come by. You know what I mean? Just let me know, man. Whatever we'll do. You know what I mean? If that means renting a ring at like Santino Brothers and having a few matches, I'm good with that. So go teach me a few things.
I'll push you over.
For sure, brother. But yeah, man, Dude, that is freaking awesome. So, yeah, and honestly, like getting to travel different states, like that would be like a dream, right? Imagine, like, you know what I mean? Like my girlfriend, she loves to travel, and like I can imagine like going to places with her and learning different things. Like if we go to, let's say, like, what state? Somewhere not too. I'm never going to Arizona, by the way. I do not like the heat. I hate the heat. So I'm never going to Arizona. But, and I'm in the wrong state. I'm in California.
Yeah.
I really should have been somewhere else. Like
should have been here in cold ass Connecticut.
Damn right. Man, cold ass Connecticut, huh? Is it really? How cold is it there?
Right now it is. That's not bad. 34 degrees outside.
34 degrees. In the morning, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's cold. That's cold to you. We're used to that.
Dude, over here it's normally like 80 to 90 degrees, and that's on a cold day. Like Jesus Christ, you.
The morning is usually like 15 to 20 degrees.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. We haven't went into negatives yet, but there are some days where it is below 0 degree weather here.
Wow. Does it ever get like, okay, like on average, when it does get negative, does it ever go like 20 below, 10 below?
No. This isn't Alaska or no. It'll be like 1 or 2 days. It'll be like -5, 10 degrees.
Oh man.
We're not Aspen over here.
Oh man, that's funny as fuck.
No, it is cool, like how here you get to experience all 4 seasons the way the media intends it to. You get your spring, you get your springtime with the blooming flowers. Then you get the summer where you actually see everything change. We get that nice 80 to 90 degree weather that y'all are used to, and then fall, you see it start to drop down to 70, the trees changing, bright red colors and stuff. And then, here comes winter and it's gone. Cold weather.
Come live in Cali for a year. It's not that special no more. Hey, trust me. Dude, it's the opposite for us. It's literally like hot as fuck for like 10 months a year, right? And then once it finally gets cold, it's like November, then December, and then January gets hot as hell again, and then some Februaries, not every February, but some Februaries, we get bipolar February, where it's hot as hell one day, and then it's a rainy freaking thunderstorm the next day, and then hot as hell again, and it's like, the fuck? It's
like my buddy down in Houston was telling me the other 2 days ago that they canceled all their schools because they got 1 inch of snow.
Is that right?
Inch. I was like, 1 inch. We get a foot of snow.
What? That is unbelievable to me.
Meanwhile, Connecticut is like, they can still make it. They're like, no, 1 inch. They're like, get rid of it. Get stay home. Like,
what?
No, because they apparently don't have the equipment that handles snow. They don't. They didn't like wreck out like plow trucks or anything. Because when does it ever snow in Houston, Texas?
I mean, I get that, but what about like they don't have snow shovels?
I guess not.
And 1 inch, dude, in Cali, dude, it does not snow in Cali. It never snows. I will be damned if you ever show. Well, I mean, then again, I'm over here in Southern California, so maybe up north it probably does. But I'll be damned if you find me one damn thing of snow in SoCal, unless it's from like a fake snow machine.
Yeah.
I'll be hard pressed. But man, that's crazy. It's so yeah. Going back to it, like it's crazy how like if we go to different states, you know what I mean? Like that's quite the what difference we can learn. How different, you know what I mean? Like, and in a way, this is culture shock. This is exactly what you learn, right? This is learning different cultures and stuff. And did you know? Fun fact: if you go to a different state, or hell, even a different city, sometimes that could be considered a different culture.
Yeah. For example, girl I'm dating right now, lives in.
Congratulations!
Yeah, clap.
Hey! We both got girlfriends now.
She lives in upstate New Jersey,
Mm-hmm.
but if you were to talk to her, you wouldn't tell based on her accent. You would think she was from Georgia because of her. Yeah, she has like a really strong like Southern accent because she lives on the countryside.
Wow.
So based on that alone, like. The way she talks like she's from the dirty South. So.
Does she have a draw, like a Southern draw?
Yeah, she has a draw. Yeah,
wow.
It's weird. Yeah, but she's like, oh, she grew up in Jersey her whole life. She's never even been to the South. I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Dang, that is crazy. Wow, that's cool. Well, that's cool, man. That's cool. Okay, so what state? Out of all of them, which one would you say you're looking forward to visiting the most?
Well, obviously Cali, because I got to see my boy anyway.
Yeah, that's right. That's all I wanted to hear. And I'm gonna head over to Connecticut one of these days.
Like I said, Cali and then Texas, because I got to go to Louis David. I got to go to Capone. Of
course. And then whatever state Sammy's in, I'll visit him. To go.
I haven't heard from Sammy, and I talked to him last year, but it was just like a game I downloaded. He was like, when'd you get that game? I was like, a couple of months ago. Oh, that was the last time I heard from Sammy.
That's funny. No, we were actually, I was actually just talking to him like maybe a couple of months ago about the, so I don't know, like if you've heard of Scott J. But he's a guy who does modding on wrestling games, right? And he's been pulling like old PS2 games from the SmackDown series, and he's been adding in things that they deleted from the game and bringing it back into it. So, like for example, with Here Comes a Pain, he added in like 1,000 extra characters. He added in like different versions of The Rock. He added in Hulk Hogan, Mr. America. Who else? Ultimate Warrior, Jeff Hardy, and like he's added in like he reinstated old championship titles, all these crazy things. And then with so like for me, I love my GM mode, and if you guys don't know it, you should follow me on Twitter. I literally only tweet about GM mode whenever I do get on that. Yeah. Don't get me started.
I gotta bring the game back in too, because the game going too. The whole game going.
Yup. I'll be so surprised if they don't this year. Like this year, I will actually be surprised because the game was so bad last year. They had to cancel the game that came next year. So if 2K22 doesn't come out with GM mode, it's never coming back.
Is they lost Ukes, and Ukes were the ones that were the forefront for all the WWE games. They're making games for AEW now. They literally let us to make games for AEW.
Damn.
So
I forgot.
Yeah, they got to find somebody that can work the magic that Ukes could. Like, I don't see myself playing WWE Battlegrounds for long term. That's why I never got it.
I never got it either. Because I mean, like, you know me, I'm not a super big gamer unless like it's a game that I'm gonna play for a long time. That's why I still play mostly PS2 games. You know what I mean? I like my Uncharted. I like Sly Cooper. I like all them. But like, I stick to what I know. Like GM mode, I have fun with that. And like 2K, like when I got 2K17, I'm so mad I did this. I pre-ordered the 2K17 because they had Shinsuke Nakamura, who already should have been in the game, by the way. And I did have some fun playing that game for a little while. But then after a little while, it just reminded me of 2K15. Like, okay, where's the rest of the content? You know? So, it just doesn't have that... Huh?
I said on DLC.
Yep. And what's sad is, like, I didn't even... I pre-ordered it only to not get the full DLC, because then there was Austin Aries, apparently. I'm like...
Yep.
The fuck? But, but it's alright. So, yeah, going back to it, like... I was talking to Sammy about SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, the definitive edition, because he added in about like 30 extra wrestlers, like so many freaking guys, different attires. Like if you look at Christian's original design in that game, and then you see what he did, he added 2 different attires, like a white attire, the same attire he wore when he won the NWA title from Jeff Jarrett, and then he also won his blue attire, but in full. But like, you know what I mean? Like he adds little details in there that just make the game that much more playable. You know, that much more longevity, which is freaking cool. What was I gonna say? So I was talking. That was the last time I talked to Sammy. I was telling him about that game. You know, but yeah. Yeah. Sammy though. Sammy. Okay. Speaking of Sammy, speaking of Capone, let me ask you something. What's your favorite memory of the PLK? Like, favorite moment we ever had doing our podcast? Could be off screen, could be on screen. Anything.
Well, I have 2 actually. The first was literally just starting it, saying, "Hey, let's get a bunch of random like friends that we met off YouTube, and let's just make a podcast and see how that turned out."
Really?
Yeah, well, all right.
Hey, you remember Bruce and Josh? You remember Bruce and Josh? And I do.
More Josh than Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce, he didn't stick around very long. Yeah. It's a shame. But
yeah. So the second one was when it was you and I think it was you and Josh had to go do something. So you guys left, and you said we'll be right back, and then we'll start doing the podcast. David says, "Well, you know, screw it. I'm just gonna smoke a cigarette." And right there, like a gun and holster, just whips out a cigarette.
That's funny. Man.
That's one thing I regret. I wish we had more episodes with Capone.
Yeah. Dude. Just the shit that he says, man. He literally... Dude. Him and... Oh, my God. Like, Oh, whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Sorry. I'm a little bougie. Being a little bougie right now with my bougie desk that, like, elevates and de-escalates it. It's not mine, it's my girlfriend's, but man, I sure as hell feel bougie with this thing. And yes, I'm saying bougie a lot because in this sense I get to say it, so why not?
Nothing will get more bougie. I wish I can show you right now. I'm using this HD webcam, which is why I look so crystal clear. You know, see my pearly whites. I got this $300 curved monitor that I'm using. Dude. And I have an $1,100 computer that I'm recording off of.
Damn. What kind of computer?
It's a rig that I bought that I got off Newegg. It's a Sky Skynet, some shit like that. But it's a really modern PC. The graphics card is it's an RTX series, which is the new NVIDIA series. You know, they're trying to push this whole new feature for video games called ray tracing, where it like basically enhances the shadows in games and stuff. So this is like built around like ray tracing. So it's the RTX series, the RTX 2060 Super, which is it's not the most powerful graphics card, but it's up there in the ladder. So
nice.
I stepped up my game. It can run pretty much any game of this generation and next generation. Like right now I'm playing Cyberpunk 2077 on it, and you know, pretty good. I got an Xbox controller running off. So I've been doing most of my gaming on the computer for the last couple of months.
That's awesome. That's freaking awesome.
But I don't just use it for gaming. I also use it for, you know, I use it for when I go on podcasts. I make my shirts on it. I've sold 15. I gotta make more Clipper Jones shirts.
Send one down my way. I'll trade you for a PLK shirt.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, you better believe I wear it too. I literally, dude, I wear my GCF shirt everywhere. Man.
Yeah, because you know it's yours.
Yeah, damn right.
Yeah,
it's a gold. But man,
I'll send a Clipper Jones shirt your way.
For sure. And I got you with the PLK shirt. I'm with you on that. Like. With Capone, I wish he was on more podcasts because man, he was something else with the things he would say. Like my favorite memory of the PLK. So I've had a couple, right? I've done this. I've done this thing since freaking 2014, and my favorite, right, when it comes to working with you and Capone and all them. We were watching the Royal Rumble together, right? We were having one of our live streams. And at one point, Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper come out. By the way, rest in peace, Brody Lee.
Yep, John Huber, Brody Lee.
John Huber. Great guy. I wish I got to know him. But yeah.
Same.
Yeah. We were talking about the Wyatt family and how David doesn't like them, I think. And he was saying that, like, well, it's just I don't really see a lot of people who with big beards, like, doing all that. Something like that. Something along those lines.
Capone believes that the campy gimmick is overdone. That's his main gripe about the Wyatt family. But he's coming from that like mindset off of binge watching horror films. Like if you watch like a bunch of campy horror films, like the creepy guy, you know, in the woods, like I get why he doesn't like the Wyatt family. I don't feel like that gimmick has been overdone in professional wrestling. If in a sense, in my opinion, but in his opinion, that's the reason why he doesn't like the Wyatt family.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's coming back to me now. Yeah. So he was saying something along that line, and Sammy he interjects and says, "Well, come to my Walmart. You see people like them all the time." I started dying. Oh my god! It was literally one of the funniest damn things I've ever heard. No man, I have like a couple of like just.
We were talking about draw. Sammy definitely had a draw.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, Sammy, like I don't know, like he was something else too. Like Sammy, I definitely wish I had more podcasts with him as well. Like he was just like head and shoulders, like had like wit for days. Like man, the first time we met him, so he hadn't shown himself on camera. So like you were telling me how he looks like Dean Ambrose. And so I was like, really? And like, I didn't see his face, so I didn't know. So I asked him, hey man, can you show your face, please? And he was like, wouldn't you want to buy me a drink first? And that came full circle, by the way. One time I was texting him the other day, and he was like, "Hey man, he asked me like, do you want to watch some wrestling together?" And I was like, "Wouldn't you want to buy me a drink first?" He started laughing, but it's a goal. Yeah, man, definitely miss those times with you, man. But hey, man, good on you for everything you've done since. You know what I mean? Like you literally have you've made strides, man. And I like, and not just in, of course, like not just in the professional sense where you've upped your game and you went from talking about wrestling to actually doing wrestling. You've upped your game in terms of personal growth. And like me, I literally see that myself because you've told me like, hey, I'm trying to be more outgoing and stuff. And I have literally seen that without you even telling me. Like 2020 Jordan, 2017 to 2020 Jordan is totally different from 2014 Jordan. Totally different. And man, like, I don't know, man. Like it's just awesome to see like as a friend, like how far you've come, and again, like how motivational you are as a person.
Usually when people who I went to high school with see me walking down the street, they can walk right past me and not recognize who it is. Like I'll be like, "Hey, how's it going?" They be like, and they gotta look for a second. They be like, "Jordan." I'm like,
I'm sure the masks don't help, right? But
yeah, that makes it worse.
Yeah,
because I had a fresh. Also, because back in high school I had a fresh cut and now I have dreadlocks, so that makes it even worse.
Yeah,
it's just like, oh, Jordan, wow.
Yeah, that's awesome though. Like I'm sure, like, man, and everything. By the way, that wasn't an anti-mask thing. Wear your masks, people. It's a goal. But now it's a crazy world. Isn't it crazy how like that's the new normal now. We're wearing masks, and then we see people without masks, and it's kind of weird.
It's like gasp. That was the weird thing about working, because keep in mind the only pre-COVID match I had was back in April, where we had a crowd of 300 people. Ever since then, pretty much, it's really hard to be a wrestler in this age because you can't have a crowd. So we have to come up with ways to basically sell our brand without spreading disease. Which is why I'm really grateful for my promoter for Invictus Pro Wrestling, Alex Esteta, for coming when he showing up when he did, because he created a promotion post COVID and found venues for us to compete in and actually train, because Team 3D Academy Northeast is currently closed right now. So doing shows is the only way for me to hone my craft. Like I can't. I mean, it's nice I make a little paycheck, but I'm just grateful for the fact that I can go out there and still take bumps and stuff, so I don't get rusty.
I'm happy for you, dude. Like, yeah. And how did you meet Alex Esteta, if you don't mind me asking? Did you kind of like luck your way into it? Like, did you meet him like, what's it called, through like, of course, Bubba Ray Dudley, or did you get booked for him like prior to COVID, or did he just randomly reach out to you? Or how did that come about?
Like I said, Team 3D Academy has a lot of performers, and every wrestling school has these guys, the top guy. We call them the top guys, the guys that you think are going to make it to WWE or Impact, AEW, or New Japan, or what have you. the guys that, go in the ring and just make it look like, make you think like, oh, I can do this too, because they're that damn good. One of the guys is of that school is one of my closest friends of the school. Mainly because I think it's not just because we're the same age. It's the fact that I guess I have this personality that I can just make people laugh without really even trying. So,
Yeah.
but I remember the first day this guy said, I think you're gonna inspire a lot of people in the school, and the person that said that was Gio Galvano. And Gio, if you want to see Gio, his first round match just uploaded last Friday on YouTube, on the Invictus Pro Wrestling page on YouTube, so you can give that a check out. But Alex Cena is good friends with Gio, so after my first show back in April, Gio pulled me to the side and said, hey, I know this guy that's starting up a promotion, and he said he wants to book a lot of the Team 3D guys because Gio was showing him videos of our training video, and he basically said right there, like, I'm going to end up signing a bunch of these guys for my promotion coming up because you guys know what you're doing. So after that, about a month went by, and that's when I actually met Alex, and he told me his whole game plan, how he wants to start this new promotion called Invictus, and he even gave me a storyboard, like his personal storyboard on how he wants to build the promotion, who he wants to build the promotion around, and what have you. But yeah, that's how I got to meet Alex, and after that, he booked me for the very first show for Invictus Pro Wrestling. What was the name of it? Erupts. It was on September 27th of 2020. The pay-per-view is called Invictus Pro Wrestling Presents Eruption.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Not only did he invite me to perform for that show, he let me work the very first match of that pay-per-view.
Wow. So you got to open the show.
I got to open the show for the very first match of Invictus Pro Wrestling.
Wow. That must be an honor, right?
Against a wrestler who's 320 pounds named Wrecking Ball Legursky, who is a big name in the Northeast wrestling region because he's been wrestling for a while now, and not only has he been wrestling for a while now, he's been on a lot of notable promotions in this area. He's been on Northeast Wrestling, which is the biggest independent promotion in the Northeast region. He's performed for Impact Wrestling a couple of times, and he's been seen on Monday Night Raw as an extra.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? So was he like as an extra, like what segment? I want to look this up.
He's done a couple of segments. I know he was one of the Rosebuds for Adam Rose,
Really?
and he was one of the entourage. What's it called? The Conga Line. The Conga Line
with No Way Jose.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, but no, he's also done matches for Impact Wrestling too.
Right. That's
But
cool.
yeah, I found that I was like, you want him to be my first opponent? And I was like, yeah. Freaking ball. And like I said, the match is on YouTube, and people have told me like they think I'm BSing them when I told them that was my very first singles match.
That was your very first singles match?
Yeah. In my career, that was my very first singles match against Wrecking Ball Legursky.
Man, well, I'm sure I'll check it out, man. I'll see how good you really are. You know what I mean? But
hey, I got my grandfather to like it, and he hates everything.
Wasn't that what grandfathers are all about? They hate everything.
Right.
Mine hated everything. Rest in peace.
I was like, what? I don't know what. You're like anything.
No, what's it called? That's really funny. But listen, Wrecking Ball, man. Listen. I'm about to cut a promo. Listen. To anybody who faces you, they can be 30 years, they could be The Undertaker. Don't matter to me. They're a guy who's going to get clipped up and thrown down. There you go. Just a little plug for you. But
I did not think that was going to get over as well as it did. Like, I'm literally coming out and the crowd is going, Clipper.
really?
Yeah, so.
Awesome, dude. Well, hey, man, you got the charisma, right?
Yeah, I guess it's somewhere in here. It must be in the dreadlocks. I don't know what else.
Everybody loves a man with dreadlocks. I mean,
because we are the winner, man.
Who doesn't love Booker T and R-Truth and Kofi Kingston, right? No, man. But dude, I think it's just you, man. It's just you. You've stuck to your word. You've stuck to your guns, and God. I know some of my audience might not believe in God. I know you're a very religious man yourself.
Sure.
God, He rewards those that do the diligence. You know what I mean? He rewards those that put in the work. And you're a man who has put in the work. And that's what you get. You get rewarded for that. You know what I mean? You are the person. People cheer you because there's a tell. You know what I mean? You're the guy who's going to be the future of wrestling, and I know it. I see it. You know what I mean? You're going to be a big name in this business, I'll bet you, one day. And even when the crowd turns on you, because that probably is going to happen too. It happens to everybody. Even when the crowd turns on you for becoming a big name and calling you overrated, you and I both know you're the one who worked your ass off to get to where you are. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's what it's all about. Yeah, man. All jokes aside, I think it's just that. I think it's just God's rewarding you for all of your hard work, and He's gonna keep rewarding you because you're gonna continue.
It really hit me. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No worries.
At the not the last show I was at, but the show before, and Invictus' second pay-per-view, November Reigns. One of my buddies comes out after the show, and says, "Hey, Clip, you gotta go back out there." I'm like, "Why? I already wrestled." And he says, "No, there's an autistic fan." It was Alex that told me. Alex told me there's an autistic kid fan out there that had this big sign, and he says he's not leaving until you sign the sign.
Wow.
So I walk out there, and he's like, "Yeah, clips up, foes down," and I'm like, "Oh man!" And I'm like, "Yeah, what's up, man?" He was like, "Yeah," he said, I've been watching you too. He said, "I saw you at the Battle Royal too," and that wasn't even the same promotion.
Yeah,
and that was all the way in Massachusetts. That means he went from Massachusetts to New Jersey, and he's seen me perform at all of my shows. So
wow,
yeah.
That's really cool. That's really freaking cool, man.
Yeah, so that's when it really hits you when you get fans, when you see fans like that. And there's another guy. This was even before I started wrestling. This guy would literally go to the ECW arena, now the 2300 arena. When I was working security for Tommy Dreamer's show, House of Hardcore, this guy didn't even know I was a wrestler. He just had a hunch that, just based on the way I looked, that I was going to be a wrestler. So he walks up and he's like getting an autograph from the wrestlers. He's like, yo, Gov, because he had a British accent. He's like, when are you starting? I was like, what? I was like, I'm a security guard. He was like, yeah, I know they got you this security. He's like, well, he's like, let me, you train at school, right? And I'm like, yeah, I trained at Team 3 Academy. He said, see, I knew you were training there. he was like, "What's your Instagram?" And I was like, told him my Instagram. My Instagram's ClipperJones365. And he's like, "Well, look," he's like, got your first fan. He got your first fan. He added me, and he was telling me about his sister, how he takes care of his sister and stuff. And I saw him at another show like 2 months later, and he goes right up to me. He was like, "Hey, how you say?" He's like, "How you doing, bro?" He's like, "How you doing? How you doing, Clipper? How you doing?" He's like, "Everything good?" I'm like, "Yeah, how's the sister?" He's talking to me, and we talked for a while. He's like, "I'm gonna sit right next to you wherever you're doing security. I'm gonna sit right next to you so we can watch the show together." Yeah. So after that, a couple months passed by, and we have another show at a convention in downtown Philly. And who else do I see? Who I see in there? That same guy.
Wow.
And he's like, fancy seeing you, Clipper. Fancy seeing you here. He's like, you want the show? You want the show tonight? I was like, I'm repping. He was like, well, I'm coming every night. I'm gonna see you every night. So all these shows in Philly, like I've seen this same guy, and he follows me on Instagram. So
yeah, that's awesome. Well, hey, let's hope he watches the show, man. And let's hope he enjoys it, because man, that's awesome. To go. But yeah, dude, see that to me is getting rewarded right there. You know what I mean? And I'll bet it's real humbling, huh?
Yeah, it's all that. It makes you like understand that it's more about them than it is about you. Like it's about entertaining them.
Gotcha. So that brings me to my next question, right? So has your perspective on pro wrestling changed? I mean, obviously it has, because I mean, over time you're going to change as a person, but how drastically has it changed? And if there's anything you would like to provide, what has changed?
If there's one thing I can say, it being in the business now has made me appreciate the classic wrestling a lot more than I did back in high school. If you were to have me watch freaking like Bob Backlund, Ivan Koloff, Iron Sheik, if you anybody from the 70s to 80s, I would say, why can I watch that one? I can watch Ricochet or somebody,
Yeah.
It makes so much sense. Like why, like a lot of fans, like now they just want to see flips and somebody bleed. Like back then, like it was about storytelling and the storytelling. Like they would do flips and stuff too, but there will always be something. There will be a reason behind it. There will be a reason. It wouldn't just flip and do a flip and go, wow, he did a flip. Somebody would club somebody from the back of the leg and make them do a back flip.
Yeah.
Like, that's how my perspectives change. Like I look at a match now and I like that, and I ask myself, what's the story of this match? And that helps you in the long run when you do your own matches, so that your matches make sense. And it's something I'm really trying hard to learn right now. When a wrestler, when I'm working with like the last guy I worked with, like I was asking him questions like, how can I make this story like make sense? And they're telling me, pointing out the things that I did in the match that I could have tweaked to make it seem like more fluid in the match. And while he's talking, I'm writing this shit down. I'm writing the notes because I want to make sure that I remember to do it later. Yeah. In the future, like this guy's like, "Wow, this dude really writing it down." I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah. Dang, that's cool, man. And so when you do watch storytelling, right? Because I've always been a firm because John Cena says the same thing. Like he prefers watching a story. And honestly, when I heard him say that I was listening to a podcast, I think back in 2017, you know what I mean? And I listened to it, and it clicked, because I see the same thing, is like, I prefer a match that does tell a story. Where, of course, you can have your flips and all that, but, like, if you look at a match, right, what's a match I'm going to remember more, right? Shawn Michaels versus Shelton Benjamin in a tournament match in 2005, or a random match where, two indie wrestlers great wrestlers, right? Where all they do is flips and dives. You know, it's two totally different things. You know what I mean? I'm going to remember the Shawn Michaels Shelton Benjamin match, not just because, you know, he did the catch super kick at the end, but, you know, because I remember at the beginning of the match, they started chain wrestling. And I know this because when I was watching that match, I would literally look at that match and think back to how much I would wrestle back in high school and, you know, remember all the chain wrestling and how it goes. And every single spot made sense coming from a perspective of someone who wrestled in high school.
Right.
You know, and then, like, it just goes on from there. Like, The Undertaker Triple H match, Hell in a Cell, Christian Randy Orton, SmackDown 2011. As much as I hated that outcome, you can't deny that it wasn't a great match. You know what I mean? Versus a match like nowadays, you know, yes, there are some that tell stories, but there are some that really don't. You know, and they're just more known for their spots, sadly. But yeah, like, I'm totally with you. So, with that being said, like, I wanted to ask you, so does that, in turn, like, make current wrestling that you watch, does it make it any more difficult, like, when you see a match that doesn't necessarily have a lot of storytelling?
Oh, yeah, it really heightens your perspective, like, what, like, with certain matches you watch, it makes you, like, think, like, what's the point of watching this?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like, why watch? It actually, in a way, it makes you want to watch older wrestling more, but not only that, it makes you want to watch wrestling in different promotions to see who has the best storytelling. Because it's not just the wrestlers, it's the promoters too. Because I'm not gonna say any names, but I had a friend in a promotion that had a match against another friend, and the promoter told him straight up that this isn't the 80s anymore. You got to have a little bit more flashiness in your match. And two wrestlers come on in the co-main event, had a match with absolutely no storytelling. The legends nitpicked the crap out of the match, but the younger wrestlers were like, oh, this is the greatest match. This is the match of the night. Might be match of the year candidate. You know, they went up to them like, this is how a real match looks like. So, different, like I said, different flavors of ice cream. But personally, I like to watch a match. Like, for example, there was a match at Wrestle Kingdom a couple days ago with Night 1 and Night 2 with Kota Ibushi versus I'm gonna go with Night 2. Night 2 was what I prefer. Kota Ibushi versus Jay White for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship and the World Heavyweight Championship. Dave Meltzer, even though a lot of people hate him, rated the match 6 stars, but that was a pretty damn good match. It was about 20 minutes long, but it's one of those matches that doesn't feel like dragged out. Kind of like the same week, Finn Balor versus Kyle O'Reilly for the NXT Championship. Those type of matches, they have their glamour in there, but they keep it to the story. They're telling a really damn good story. They're not just flipping off a cage because it looks cool. They're flipping off because they're trying to win the match, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Like, two different aspects.
Yeah. And I'm totally with you with that. Like, because, like, when I think of, like, that aspect, right, I think, like, again, when I'm listening to your story, like, I get what the promoter is saying in the sense that, like, you know, maybe the audience would like to see a little more flash in there, but to say something like I don't know who said it, that this is what a real match should be like, I take offense to that because I don't think that's what a real match should be like. You know what I mean? I
forgot to add in the fact that they used 3 Canadian destroyers in that match.
No. See, that to me, I'm not okay with that. Like, that's just me. Like, throw that match out. Like, I didn't see the match. I'm sure it was lovely.
No, the match was awesome. But
really,
if I'm giving you 3 Canadian destroyers, you're gonna die. Like,
yeah, you should be destroyed, especially if you're Canadian. No, like, yeah, and I'm with you. Like, there's some things that, like, you know, I hate to use like wrestling terminology because I'm not exactly in the business myself, but there are some things that should be protected. You know, a Canadian destroyer, that move, at least one of them, if done, you know, in real life, could probably cause your freaking neck to break, or at the very least a concussion. You know what I mean? And you're taking 3 of them. That's not taking you out. I don't know.
Storytelling is the reason why P.D. Williams was able to get the Canadian Destroyer over.
Yep.
Because he would do it one time, and then that was the end of the match.
Yep. And like, that's one thing I hate about modern matches is that, like, I don't see a lot of like protection when it comes to the finishers, right? I hate that, like, in almost every match, everybody kicks out of the finishers right away. Like, and it takes like about 2 or 3 or 4 times till somebody is finally done. You know what I mean? 2 or 3, 4 finishers. And my whole thing is, if every match is doing that, then it means nothing anymore. If, like, one person is, like, you know what I mean, doing it. Like, just look at how protected the super kick was back in 2005 versus how it is now. Like, everybody does it. Same with the crossface. Same with, I would argue, even the spear in some aspects. You know, that's one thing that bothers me about modern wrestling. And I'm totally with you on that. Like, everything needs to have a story. You know what I mean? If you're going to have someone kick out of the finishers, that's fine. But you can't have that in every match. You know? A match like Undertaker and Triple H, I think that's totally fine. But a match like the Usos versus Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper, don't get me wrong, all 4 of them talented athletes. But there was a time in 2014 they were doing that every single week. I don't know. I digress. I'm going to get off my soapbox here. But, yeah, like, I'm totally with you on that. I think, like, again, same thing with the Canadian Destroyer. Should be protected. Brass knuckles. This is what bothered me about the whole Roman Reigns Kevin Owens match in 2017. There was a spot where he hit him with the brass knuckles and Roman kicks out. Dude, brass knuckles are going to knock your ass out. Stay down or don't do the spot at all. You know. But, again, I digress. What's it called? Sorry. There is a different aspects to it, though. Like, when you look at, like, the different people, like, and I think it's a generational thing. Like, you grow up watching something different, you know, you're gonna believe something different.
Yeah, it's funny how Bully Ray, Bubba Ray Dudley, can literally pick a younger student's brain and tell where they've started watching wrestling. Like, he'll ask them a question, like, we'll have a match, like, during training, and he'll ask the kid, he'll be like, did you like the match? And if they say no, he'll be like, why didn't you like the match? They'll say, it wasn't that interesting. And he'll be like, why? Because they didn't do enough super kicks or Canadian destroyers for you? And he'll say, well, yeah, it didn't have enough big moves in it to make me draw towards the match. And he'll be like, so let me guess, you frequently watch, like, a lot of indie wrestling matches where they do a lot of that stuff, right? He's like, yeah. He was like, what if I told you that you don't need all that stuff to have a good match? And that's where it starts. He's like, I'm going to break it down. We're going to break it down and understand. And then he'll tell another 2 of the veteran students to have a match but only use one big move in that match for the finish. And they'll do a lot of chaining, they'll have like one or two spots, you know, at each spot, you know, shine up a little bit of comeback, a short comeback, a couple clotheslines, some arm drags, and you know, duck move, big finisher, blam, finish the match. And he'll say, now, did you like that match? They'll be like, yeah, I see what you were talking about. He's like, yeah, you see, you don't need all that stuff.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
That's cool. Man, that's really cool. What so when you say that he was doing training with them, like, so was he like talking to them as he was like chain wrestling with them, or was he like showing them tape, or? What he usually does is he has the veteran guys explain what he's talking about. Like because like I said, a lot of these guys have been wrestling for about 4 years. I've been training for 3 years now. So there are times where he'll get in the ring and do some explaining. So that's cool, man. That's really cool. Alrighty. So let's go ahead and get into last question, then we'll close the show here. What's it called? So do you still, like, I know your schedule must be pretty hectic right now, you know what I mean? Or not hectic, but, you know, you must be keeping busy, you know, with your job and pro wrestling and, of course, well, actually, do you still have 2 jobs, if you don't mind me asking?
No, I got rid of the second job around the same time I started wrestling. Because
that was the warehouse one?
I didn't want to have any time taken away from me for pro wrestling. If I was gonna go in, I was gonna go all the way.
Yeah,
like that.
That's awesome.
So, because I've seen a bunch of guys in the school. They prioritize their job over their dream job. So whenever we would have to go to like a pay-per-view or something for ring crew, they would come up with excuses. Oh no, I gotta work. Oh no, I gotta go to this. I gotta go get my hair cut and this and that. And I'm telling you, I gotta
go get my hair cut.
Yeah, you don't go far in this business if you have a lot of excuses. The guys that you see that are on the top of the mountain have literally dedicated their whole life to professional wrestling.
Yeah, of course, and that's how you got to do it. You know what I mean? Reminds me of someone who was in GCF with us. I mean, shit, he's probably not going to watch this podcast. I'm currently not affiliated with the business, so the guy's name was Mikey D. He would constantly bullshit. You know what I mean? He would never show up to meetings. He would never do anything. He always make some damn excuse. You know, oh, I forgot my socks. Some shit like that. I'm not saying that's what he would say, but sometimes his excuses would get that bad. You know, but man, yeah, that's crazy.
This is one guy that texted me about it a few months ago. He's like, this was actually a couple of weeks ago. He's like, I can't wait till the school opens up again.
Yeah. And
I really wanted to text him again. I just wanted to reply for what? Like, what are you getting out of like training here? Like, I'm not trying to be rude, but this guy has been here 3 years longer than I have, and I've already accomplished 3 times more than he has. I have guys who I train that have more experience than him, and they've only been in this game for about a year and a half.
Wow.
I know guys that I train that have been there for 6 months that have already done more than he has in the 4 years he's been, the 5 years he's been there now.
Does he not like show up, or does he like?
He shows up to class, but we have 3 classes a week, and he'll barely show up to one of them.
Wow. That's very telling, right? That's someone who doesn't put in the work, and he's someone who will not be getting rewarded for those things. You know, you, my friend, you are. Yeah.
Oh, that's the business.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know what I mean? What's it called? And, yeah, like, going back to the whole topic of work rate, like, you know, that's why a guy like John Cena's on top, you know?
And it doesn't just go for wrestling; it goes for any job that you're going for. Like I used to have guys come like that I used to work with be like, "Oh, here comes Mr. Goody Two Shoes with the 40 hours." Oh, who asked you kids to get those 40 hours? I'm like, I'm not. I'm like, they go up to me, they ask me, "Do you want to work these hours?" I say, "Yeah," and then I show up. I was like, they would give them to you too if you actually showed up. They do. Someday they would say, "Hey, you want to work these hours?" "Oh no, I gotta go out. I gotta go get this. I gotta go get that." Okay, so let's give it to somebody else. And I'm like, so why you mad?
Yeah. Exactly. Why would be mad? You know what I mean? What's it called? And I know it because I've been a bullshitter before. Yeah. I know what that's like. You know what I mean? I try not to be, but
yeah, it's hard. It's hard to get up.
Yeah. And I've only been a bullshitter when it comes to working at one of my retail jobs, but not making excuses for it, but hey, they had no desire to see me. I have no desire to see them. You know, that's just the way it was. But what's it called? You know, other than that, you know what I mean? I would never like bullshit. Like at my job at the current one I have, Best Buy, dude, I freaking love working there. I literally try to show up as much as possible. If my manager's texting me asking me, "Hey, can you come in?" I'm already on the way there. You know what I mean? Like, cause
hell yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Hey there, what's going on, buddy? This one can't seem to stay out of trouble. I've only had him for a day, but what's it called? Yeah, like I don't know. I've learned a lot, you know, when it comes to like watching how people complain and then seeing what exactly they do though. Like there are some people who they might complain, but like I see that they work hard. You know, and I'm like, okay, I don't really judge them as much. But then there are people who complain, but then they're always calling out, they're always like making it harder on other people, they're always slacking off. Like, dude, just fuck off. You know. And that's what I think about, like, when you were telling me the story about your colleague who wants the school to open back up. I'm like, yeah, for what? What are you gaining out of it? You know? And I thought the same thing about one of our guys. Two of our guys, because we were plagued with this. Two people who would never freaking show up. And they would be like, "Oh, I'm all about wrestling and stuff." I'm like, dude, no, you're not. Like, if you did, you would show up, no excuses. But you don't show up. I'm freaking 18 years old at this time. I don't have a car. And I literally make it to every single meeting. And if I don't, then I've made it to more meetings than you have. Yeah. But yeah. And that's right. That's why a guy like John Cena's on top. Again. Let's go. So what, alrighty. Actually, let me ask you the $1 million question here. So you've had two jobs. I've worked warehouse, you've worked warehouse. I've worked retail, you've worked retail. Retail or warehouse, which you prefer?
Warehouse any day of the week.
Yeah. Ain't that the damn truth, right?
If it wasn't for the fact that my warehouse hours interfere with my wrestling hours, I would have quit retail. I would have definitely. I was making more money in the warehouse anyway.
Really?
Yeah. Damn. But what happened was I had to make a sacrifice. I was like, either stay here and make money, or I go to wrestling and eventually make a lot of money. So you know.
Yeah. See, I love the warehouse, man. One thing I loved is they were giving me 30 hours a week since I wanted part-time, and it worked with my skills schedule because I was literally working 4 days a week. It was on the weekends, which means I had the whole weekdays to myself.
Yeah.
You know, I only left because, well, for one, I was getting paid 13, which is minimum, and there are other jobs that are paying me 15, right? So I just, yeah, of course, more pay, and also, like, I just kept getting rashes, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe warehouse ain't built for everybody, but what for my short time there, I definitely loved it. You know, easy damn job. You know what I mean?
It's easy money.
Yeah, really easy money. Time goes by too. Like,
Yeah.
you know, all I'm doing is like putting car parts in a tote and then putting them down the conveyor belt.
Mhm.
Like, it just doesn't get much easier than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really doesn't. You know, what's it called? But yeah, man. What? How long did you work at the warehouse for?
A year and a half. And a lot of my buddies that I used to work with are managers now. And they said they would have probably made me a manager too had I stayed, but like I said, duty called and I left.
Yeah.
But they did tell me if I ever wanted to go back, don't even put in another application, just call us and we'll work something out.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Honestly, like, it's kind of the same way for me, because, like, you know, like, that's another job, like, where you learn a lot about yourself, and you also kind of learn, like, you learn more responsibilities than you would being a cashier. I think, yeah, it was definitely a good thing. Yeah. Another reason I left was also because, like, I was planning to move out in January. And I wanted to find a job that would have different districts. Like, so if I work at, let's say, a retail job like a Staples, if I work at the one in Montclair long enough, then then by the time I have to move out, I can just transfer to the one over in Riverside, because that's where I'm living now, because I got accepted into UC Riverside. But yeah, come here, you stay put now. But yeah, man, it's all about what work you put in anything, like school as well. You know, I busted my ass to get accepted into university, you know, and I think that's awesome. Like, you're literally setting that example, man. That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Trying to.
All right. All right. I'm talking a little too much. I'm boring you. But nah. What else was I gonna say?
It's been a while since we did this, so
Yeah. How's it feel? Do you miss it at all?
yeah, it's weird how we're like now, like we were talking, like we started this just two guys that were into wrestling, and now like we've actually, like, you actually dabbled in professional wrestling for a time, and I'm like actually pursuing to be a professional wrestler, so we see things from a different perspective now.
Yep. It's just, yeah, like that's the craziest thing, right?
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. Like me, like, I also pay a lot more attention to promos now. You know, when I look at, like, a promo that, like, how much the style of promos have changed, you know?
Yeah.
And it's changed almost a lot. Like, nowadays, everybody is pulling off the work shoot.
Yeah.
The same, like, you know what I mean?
Everybody wants their pipe bomb.
Yeah. You know? But it's really cool. And, like, I don't know, like, it's just amazing to see how much wrestling has evolved, too. Like, since from 2014, when we first started doing this thing. So, okay, yeah. So this was the question I wanted to ask you, right? So, you're very busy with wrestling, and, of course, you have your job. I was wondering, do you still diligently keep up with wrestling, like the product itself? Like, with WWE, AEW as much as you used to, or has that fallen back a little bit?
It's fallen back slightly. It's been recently. I've been watching more now because I'm not currently in training right now because of COVID. So right now, like, I have a lot more free time, to watch, professional wrestling while I'm working, because I work out at home. I have a 90-pound barbell at home with resistance bands and stuff, so I can get a full workout at home. So while I'm working out, I watch AEW, I watch New Japan, I watch Impact. I don't really watch WWE that often, but I'll occasionally watch NXT and SmackDown every now and then. But yeah, it's been a lot better than last year. Last year, training 3 days a week. Once I get home, I didn't even want to look at professional wrestling.
Is that right?
I was drained. I was like,
really?
Yeah, because you're training 3 nights a week. You're training 3 nights, 2 nights a week. You're doing Saturday morning. And you're watching. You're not just having matches. You're watching your friends have matches. And there's 14 kids in the school, so you're watching about 3 to 4 matches a night. And then you go home and wrestling's on TV. You're like, I just saw this.
Yeah. Dang, that's cool. Well, I mean, yeah. Now I was wondering. Oh, sorry. What were you gonna say?
You're the host.
Okay, for sure. So I was watching a podcast like a couple of years ago, listening to it. Right, I forgot who it was. It could have been either, I'm thinking Summer Rae, probably, or Ryback. A star from 2014. And it's more than likely Summer Rae, because Ryback, the guy's not really that smart, so I don't know. I have no interest in listening to his podcast, so why I would be listening to a Ryback podcast, I don't know. Anyway, Summer Rae, I think she had made a mention in an interview or a podcast with who knows who, I forgot. But I think she had made a mention that, like, you would go, like, a training day is like 8 hours a day. Is that true? Is that what it's like for you? Like, how long are your training sessions, if you don't mind me asking?
Our training sessions go for about four hours a night. So we're doing about we're putting in about 12 hours a week for wrestling.
Wow. That's damn, that's some work, man. Yeah. Takes me back. Of course, I still don't do nearly as much as you would do. Like, I'll bet. Like, because I would only do about 2 hours a day for 5 days a week, which equals out to, what, 10 hours a week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
About roughly around the same.
Yeah. I mean, it's still like, you know what I mean? Worth it at the end of it, right? Like, just not only from a physical aspect, but like it's also taught me a lot mentally. Like during that, I felt like I was at my most alert mentally. Like I could literally like play games on my phone and listen to an entire podcast. Now I can't even pay attention to a freaking podcast. I'll like miss details if I'm playing a game. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I'm sure it helps you stay on like mentally like a lot more alert as well.
Yeah, this is like my grandfather asked me this like last week. He was like, "Do you think it's time for you to hang it up?" And I'm like, "Why do you think that?" He was like, "Well, you're getting up there in age, and I don't think you've done enough in your career like to say that you should keep going." And like I said, my grandfather just hates everything. So I gave him perspective. Like, I'm like, Grandpa, I was like, I'm gonna be straight up with you. Like, there's hundreds of wrestlers that are competing just to get to where I'm at right now in my career. Like, I've only had 3 matches so far, and it usually takes a lot of wrestlers to have about 20 matches to even get to where they're like I've worked Invictus shows against people that actually have names. Like all the people I've competed against have names in the business. Like my second match, and this is on YouTube as well. But if you want to get the pay-per-view version, you know, go on the Invictus page, and you know, $4.99. You know, they got the combo pack for $6. Okay, I'm just plugging right now. Yeah, my second match was a tag team match with my buddy Gio against Mucho Chris Mojo and Randy Shawn. And Randy Shawn has been pro wrestling for 20 years and owns the building, the Platinum Fitness that we used to train in Team 3D Academy. So all of the people that I face against actually have names in the wrestling world. And I've done security multiple times for Impact Wrestling.
So yeah,
I've eaten Philly cheesesteaks right next to Rob Van Dam. So, so you know what, Grandpa, you can, you know.
I love it. I freaking love it, and that's awesome. So called.
I still love Grandpa though. You know, it's just great.
Of course. I'll bet, man. I'll bet. No, man. But yeah, that's how my grandfather was. He hated everything too, you know. But it's all good, man. Like, you know, I don't know. When I usually hear things like that from other people who like are out of the business or really don't know too much about it, or like think like, oh, this is just like the same as wanting to be a freaking rock star. Like, okay, no disrespect to being a rock star. You know, of course, it's the same thing, like, in the sense that hundreds of people probably want to be a rock star and stuff. But
then you got to ask yourself how many people actually want to chase the dream.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, so people who say things like that, I take with a grain of salt, right? Because, like, you know, hundreds of people want to be a police officer. I mean, maybe probably not so much now because of, you know, given everything going on in today's times, you know. But like hundreds of people want to chase certain futures. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants to chase something. Everybody has a dream. But how many people actually chase that? And it's not so much how much you dream or how realistic the job is or how any of that. None of that matters. What matters is how much you're willing to work for it and what you're doing to get to those steps. You know? And you're in a very unique position. You're in a unique position. College has taught me not to say very or more unique or less unique, because unique just means you one of a kind. And if you say very unique, you just sound dumb. So, little fun fact right there. Like, I think the thing is, like, some people need to learn, like, when to just kind of back off and know that, like, nothing is unrealistic if you're putting your mind to it. It's unrealistic if you're saying you're going to do it and then you don't do shit. You know, because at that point, anything can be unrealistic. It could be unrealistic to be a fireman. It could be unrealistic to be a doctor, a police officer, whatever the case may be. You know, I have a friend who's in film class right now. He's studying to be a director. And every single Snapchat story, every single project I see, he's constantly video editing. He's constantly working on projects. He was working on this one project for, like, months, right? To the point I would message him, probably wouldn't hear back from him for, like, a week. That's how dedicated he was to that, you know? And, like, shout out to Neo. He's the new one. That's what he calls himself. Like, man, that's a guy who hustles, right? And that's a guy who makes his job realistic. So it's not so much that it's unrealistic. It should be more that you make it realistic, you know, and like, I don't know, trust the process. I definitely firmly believe that. Trust the process, because Rome wasn't built in a day, you know.
Yeah.
So, like, again, when I hear stuff like that, just to try to cut this thing short, like, I take it with a grain of salt, because it's like, again, you just put perspective. There are hundreds of people who fight to be in your position that you are in right now. And, like, just like me, right? I still have a unique position where I literally know Jamal, Roscoe Wallace. I know Joseph, what's his name? I forgot his last name.
Yeah,
by the way,
what's
happy
his
birthday.
name?
Oh, sorry, what were you saying?
I said, yeah, what's his name?
What's his name? I forgot his last name. Joseph Mattoon, right? Also known as Joey Saint. I know the organizations of two people who are holding training classes, right? And they literally have told me, whenever you're ready to go back into it or get back into it, just let me know. So I can come back into the wrestling business whenever I want, right? And get back into training and stuff. It's just, you know, and that to me, like, I made it realistic because I'm the one who made the connections. I'm the one who's worked on my character, did all this stuff, did the research. There's not too many people who are willing to do the research in high school. Meanwhile, they're doing graphic design classes so that they can learn to design their own logos while building their character and learning how to do interview classes and hospitality classes and manage. And then the late next year on, chasing college while doing this at the same time. Not too many people will do that, you know. And of course, everybody's story is different, but I don't know. So even with all that, like, being said, like, never let anybody doubt you. Never let anybody doubt you. Like, you know what I mean? And that's one thing I've always admired about you, is that, like, you chase your own things and you never take anybody's stuff. You either take it with a grain of salt, or you'll literally pretty much sit their asses down. Like, you know, even your grandfather, you know what I mean? And I think, dude, like, if you ever go to WWE, for example, you're bound to be a world champion, you know, bound to have a Hall of Fame worthy career, you know. So big ups to you, my guy. Yeah, big ups to you. Alrighty. So it's been 2 hours 15. So we're gonna call it here. But it is tradition to do this with every podcast host that I've had. So match recommendation of the week, Jordan. What you got?
Of the week.
Yeah, so okay. So if you don't remember, this is anytime, any place, just something you're listening to right now, you're whatever, you know what I mean? Could be any match from any era, any promotion, anything. What you got?
Well, since I just watched Wrestle Kingdom 15, I'm gonna say Night 2, Wrestle Kingdom 15, Night 2, Kota Ibushi versus Jay White.
Nice.
For the IWGP Intercontinental Championship and the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship.
For sure, man. Oh, good. Okay, my match recommendation of the week. Anything with Clipper Jones. No, for real. My match recommendation of the week is... Okay, so The Rock versus Stone Cold at WrestleMania 19. All-time great match. Literally, a good story match. What we were talking about earlier today. Like, a match with great storytelling. I'll actually give you another one. Because it just comes to mind. Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho at Wrestle Kingdom 10. That was a really good match. I love the way they put over the V trigger in that match. You know, that's also a really good storytelling match right there for you. So with that being said, everybody, Jordan, you got any final thoughts before we close out?
All I gotta say is follow Clipper Jones 365 on Instagram. You know, maybe we'll have more of these down the road. That's pretty much it. One more thing. Whether I'm north or south, you know, highway, downtown, Jay Wyatt, Jordan Fanatic, it's always gonna be clips up,
foes down. I love it. What's it called? And if we do have another podcast down the road, and you, the audience, wants to chime in, ask Mr. the Wrestling Fanatic a question, Mr. Jones, Mr. Clipper, Mr. Clifford, the Big Red Dog.
You got a movie coming out.
Really?
Yeah.
Clifford the Big Red Dog.
Live action. Clifford the Big Red Dog, live action.
I heard about that. Right. That's going to be cool. What's it called?
Yeah.
Oh.
Are
you gonna watch it?
I might.
I wonder if it's gonna have a plot. Cause
it is.
Really? Because most of the
movie,
from what I remember from the Clifford the Big Red Dog books, this is just like, here's Clifford at this, Clifford at that, Clifford at this.
No, I could tell you it's gonna be the Hollywood shtick where somebody's gonna try to get Clifford, and you know, it's a big dog. I want him. You know.
Hey, probably, yeah. Man, makes me. I always wondered, how is there not earthquakes in that city? Yeah, like every step that dog takes, boom, boom, boom.
Probably gonna do that in the movie. Kids cartoons, they can't have death in there.
Then what if the dog barks too? Like, how is there not someone's house breaking down every week? Like, fucking dog! Oh man, what's it called? But listen, so you, the audience, if you guys want to ask Mr. Clipper Jones a question next time we're on the show, if we ever do have another podcast, which I will promote next in advance, DM me on Instagram at Podcast Legend Killers. My DMs are always open. And yeah, I'm always keeping that in mind. Also, last thing, right, is very important message. I'm gonna continue to do this because I believe it's very important right now with COVID and everything. And I'm gonna try to endorse it as much as I can every podcast. Is mental health. Mental health is a very important thing, and you know, if you are somebody in the audience who feels like, you know, you're not feeling the best, you know, always know that you're loved. Everybody loves you. Jordan, the Wrestling Fanatic, and I, we love you. You know, my DMs are always open, so I don't know. And yeah, take care, everybody. Stay tight. And Mr. Jordan, it's been a pleasure working with you, my good sir.
Sure.